Hello Horizon Kids, welcome to another week of Horizon Kids at Home. We're so excited that you could join us today, and today we're going to talk about another amazing topic. You're going to love this one, and it's about faith. Everyone say faith. What is faith? Very good question. There is a verse in the Bible, and it's in Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1, and it says, faith means being sure of the things we hope for and knowing that something is real even though we can't see it. That's what faith is. And faith is about things that we can't see. It's trusting that God is there, trusting that He is real even though we can't see Him. It's kind of like air. I know that air is all around me right now because someone told me one day that air exists, and when I breathe in, I can feel air in my lungs, and when I look outside I can see the trees moving because the wind is blowing with the air. And I know when the air is hot on a hot day, and I know when the air is cold on a cold day, but I can't see air, so I just have to trust that air exists. Something I can't see, but I know it's there. Something else that we know is there that we can't see is gravity. In science class at school, we get taught that gravity is something that makes everything fall to the ground. So when you throw something in the air, it's just going to keep falling down. And so like this parachute man, who's had a parachute man before, if I throw him up in the air, do you think he's going to keep going up and up and up to the sky? No, he's going to fall to the ground because that's what gravity does. I can't see gravity, but I can see proof of gravity when I throw him up in the air. He definitely fell to the ground, and that's gravity. It's real. And it's like that with God. I can't look around and see God anywhere, but I know that He's real. And I see proof in His creation, when I look outside, when I look at the sky, when I look at the grass, when I look at everything that He made. I know He exists. But that's evidence of Him being alive and real. And that's how we find proof, through God's miracles, through the things that He does, through His creation, through how amazing He is and how we feel His presence. And we can just get a sense that God is there, but we can't see Him. It requires faith. Now, the very first thing that we have to do is we have to believe in something we can't see. That's the first thing. The second thing we have to do is we have to have action to go with our faith. So that is trusting in God and believing Him and obeying Him, even when it's hard, even when we can't see Him. So I have this balloon here, nice pink balloon, and it's a little bit boring. This is not very fun to play with. I want it to be a balloon. Why isn't it a balloon? Why? It needs air in it. I don't know that air is real, so why should I put air in this? Why? How do I know that will become a balloon? Well, I just have to trust the air is real, and I have to believe that as I take action and I put air in this balloon that it will become awesome. All right, ready? Let's give it a go. Gonna trust in this air. Whoa. Okay, I think that's enough air. Whoa, okay, now that is a cool balloon. I'm just gonna tie this guy up. Okay, now I know that air is real and I can see it, but you know what? It took me blowing the balloon to know how good air was and to know that it was real. And now I have an awesome balloon. And that's what we have to do with God. We just have to trust Him and we have to obey Him. So, you know, sometimes it's things like, you know, when you're scared of the dark, but we know that God is real and we know that He's going to protect us and He's going to keep us safe, but we're still scared of the dark sometimes. So faith is trusting that if I get scared of the dark, He's going to protect me so I can turn the light off. I take some action. And I turn the light off before I go to sleep and I lie in bed and I just believe that God, you're going to protect me, you're going to look after me, and that I'm putting my faith in God. And you know what? The next thing you know it, we can be safe in our bed and we can lie there without being scared because we trusted God and we took action and we turned off the light. Another thing, imagine your teacher at school is there in your classroom and you feel like God says, go say something nice to your teacher. But you're like, I'm a little bit shy. I don't want to say something nice to my teacher. But you know what? I feel like God is telling me to, so I'm going to put faith in God and I'm going to believe and I'm going to obey. So you go up to your teacher and you say, thank you so much for being a good teacher. I really like you and I hope you're having a good day. You don't realize that your teacher has had a bad day and you just made their day by going and talking to them. When we trust God, He wants to use us as we obey God. We get to bless other people and He gets to use us to do amazing things. And that's what trusting and having faith with action is. Faith is believing when we don't see and acting upon those things that we believe. Acting upon our faith in God and trusting and obeying God. You know, there was a guy in the Bible, his name was Abraham, and he is the story of the week, the Bible story of the week this week is Abraham. And him and his wife Sarah, hi Sarah, I know there's a Sarah out there watching us. Abraham and Sarah got told by God that they were going to have a baby, they were going to have a son. And you know what? They were actually really old. They were too old to have a baby actually. And God told them that they were going to have a baby, but you know what? They had to just believe that even though we're too old to have a baby, all right, God, if you said it, I'm going to trust you. Even though it doesn't seem real, I'm going to trust you. And you know what? As they trusted God, Sarah, she fell pregnant and they had a baby and they named him Isaac. Then what happened is one day God said to Abraham, Abraham, I know you have a son, Isaac, and I gave him to you, but I need you to go and I need you to sacrifice him. And Abraham was like, why would I sacrifice the son that you gave me? But God, if you're telling me to do that, I'm going to obey you. I'm going to trust you that you have a big plan and that's something I don't know about, and I want to trust you. And so he went up to the mountain with his son Isaac and he got ready to sacrifice his son. And then God said, stop, don't sacrifice your son because I'm going to provide a lamb for you to be able to sacrifice the lamb instead of your son. And you know what? God rewarded his obedience and He provided for him. And there was a big purpose and something about the story that Abraham didn't know about until afterwards, but he trusted it and he obeyed even though it didn't make sense, even though he couldn't see what God was doing. He just had faith in God. He had faith and he had a son. He had faith and God provided, and that's what God wants to do in your life. You know, just a few years ago, I was invited to become the kids pastor at Horizon Church, and it was just a part-time job, meaning it was only a few days a week, but God said to me, Hannah, take this job and I want you to work full-time. I want you to give all of the days in your week to becoming a kids pastor. And I knew that that was the right thing to do in my heart, but I also knew that I wasn't going to be able to earn enough money to pay all my bills. And so it was a little bit scary, but I felt like that's what God asked me to do. And so I had to have faith and I had to believe and I had to trust God and say, okay, even though I'm not going to have enough money, I'm going to do this. And so I gave full time to working at church and to becoming the kids pastor, and I love my job so much. But then there was times where I got bills in the mail, and when I got those bills, I got really quite scared because I was like, how am I going to pay my bills? And there was one bill in particular, it was my car registration. So it means that I needed to pay that if I wanted to drive my car. And it was $1,000. And if I didn't pay that $1,000 for my car, it meant that I wasn't allowed to drive my car and I needed to drive my car. And so, you know what? I got a little bit upset to begin with, but then I remembered that, you know what? God said that He would provide for all of my needs. When I said yes to that job as a kids pastor, God reassured me that I am going to take care of all your needs. And so I started to pray and I said, God, I have this bill. I need $1,000 to pay for my car. And so I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And then you know what happened? Just before I had to pay that bill, I went out to the letterbox one day to check the mail and I pulled out an envelope that said my name on it. And I opened up the envelope and there was $1,000 in there. And I can tell you, I still don't know to this day who put that money in my letterbox. I actually just believe it was God providing for me. He provided the $1,000 I needed to pay for my car registration. And I'm so grateful because you know what? When you say yes to God and you obey God and you trust God, He will always give you what you need. And He will always make sure that when you show your faith to God, that He will show you how faithful He is. And He wants to bless you and He wants to provide for you. And if you have faith in God, when you are scared, He's going to protect you. When you obey God with faith, even though you can't see what's going to happen, even when you obey God when it's hard, you're going to know that He's always going to look after you. When you need something and you and your family pray for it, with faith, God will provide for you. And so that's what we're learning today. It's about faith and about how we've got to trust and we've got to obey, and then we've got to take action to show our faith. We can't see it, but God knows it. He sees our heart and He loves your faith. He loves you. And I really believe that as you step out in faith this week, that you are going to see God move in your life. All right, so right now I want you to switch this off and I want you to go and watch the video of Abraham, or go and read it in your Bible. And then I'm going to come back in a minute and I'm going to ask you some questions about the Abraham story and about faith that you can all answer together with your family or by yourself with a notebook. So go and grab a notebook and I will see you in a minute.